Jordan has $5,000 saved. That doesn't sound like rich. It doesn't sound like financial freedom. But something strange happens around that number. Before $5,000, every surprise feels personal, like life is testing you. After $5,000, you start breathing differently. You stop opening your bank app like you're checking bad news. You stop making every decision from fear. In the next 15 minutes, I'll explain why everything changes after $5,000. Not because the number is magic, but because your brain finally exits survival mode. And there's one mistake people make right after hitting $5,000 that erases the benefit. I'll show you what it is and how to avoid it without living like a monk. In real life, $5,000 is quiet. No champagne, no new car. It's Jordan on the edge of the bed, scrolling transactions. Rent cleared, groceries cleared, that random subscription cleared. Then the car makes a noise, or dentist email lands, or the boss hints hours might get cut. Normally, that's when the spiral starts, not because Jordan is dramatic, but because without a buffer, every new problem competes with basic stability. The brain runs background math. If this happens, then I can't do that, and then I'm stuck. With $5,000 sitting there, the same event happens, and instead of panic, there's a pause, a choice. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and still can't relax, $5,000 is often the first time you get proof that money can buy something real. Not luxury, options. And there's a psychological reason that shift is so strong. People talk about 100K as the first big milestone. 100K matters for long-term compounding. $5,000 matters for your nervous system. Below that, you're living with timing risk. Timing risk is when life can force you into bad financial decisions at the worst possible moment. Your tire blows, you can't shop around. Your hours get cut, you can't wait for the right job. Rent jumps, you can't negotiate calmly. You're not making bad choices, you're making fast choices. And fast choices are expensive. So being broke isn't only not having money, often it's not having time. No time to think, no time to recover, no time to choose. $5,000 starts buying you time. Time is what turns you from reactive to strategic. And here's the key open loop. $5,000 changes behavior, even if your income doesn't change. That's because scarcity isn't just financial, it's mental. When you're low on cash, your brain narrows your world. You stop thinking about next year, not because you're irresponsible, but because your mind is trying to keep you alive this week. You become more impulsive, not less moral, just wired for immediate relief over future reward. You get exhausted because every purchase becomes a negotiation. You're less creative because creativity needs slack, mental and financial. That's why just budgeting is easier said than done. Budgeting is easier when you're not under constant threat of surprise expenses. $5,000 creates slack, and slack protects your decisions, not just your dollars. Make it concrete. Say Jordan brings home $3,800 a month. Core bills are $3,200. That's $600 of margin. That margin is where life happens. Gas, food, gifts, random need it today, one night out that keeps you sane. With no savings, a $900 car repair doesn't just cost $900. It costs your entire month. It forces credit card debt, borrowing, skipped necessities, extra shifts. With $5,000 saved, the same repair is annoying, but it's not identity shaking. $5,000 doesn't fix your life. It stops life from constantly threatening it. But here's the twist. Hitting $5,000 can actually increase anxiety or sloppiness if you handle it wrong. Right after $5,000, a lot of people get uncomfortable. Before, the story was simple. I'm building, I'm climbing. Once you have real savings, the story becomes, what if I lose it? You check accounts more, you get protective. Every purchase feels like it's stealing from a fragile pile. Or you swing the other way. You've been deprived for so long that you celebrate hard. I deserve this. The money quietly slides back down. Now, you're not just stressed, you're disappointed. And that hurts because the $5,000 represented proof that you can get ahead. The benefit of $5,000 only becomes permanent when you give it a job, not savings in general, a specific job. Money without a job becomes temptation or anxiety. Money with a job becomes a system. Systems build long-term wealth without burning your life down. So what is $5,000 actually for? $5,000 is level 1 financial shock absorption. It lets you take a hit without instantly rearranging your entire month. Shock absorption creates calm. Calm creates consistency. Consistency builds wealth. Not viral investments, not perfect timing, not endless hustle. Picture yourself a year from now. Same job, maybe slightly better. Nothing fantasy. Your car needs $800 tires. Old you feels that chest tightness and starts juggling. Delay this bill, use the card, figure it out later. Future you just handles it. You transfer the money, you pay. It's annoying, but it doesn't start a chain reaction. Then you go to sleep. That's what $5,000 is supposed to buy. Not a lifestyle upgrade, a nervous system upgrade. It changes behavior because it reduces scarcity thinking. It gives your brain proof that a surprise won't destroy you. Once your brain believes that, you start making better decisions everywhere. Spending, food, career, investing, relationships. But only if you avoid the core mistake. The mistake is treating $5,000 like extra money. It's not extra. It's structural. If you treat it like extra, you'll fund normal life with it. Once it's funding normal life, it stops being a buffer. Once it's not a buffer, you're back in timing risk. So you separate it, mentally and ideally physically. Your buffer should not live in the same place as your daily spending. If it does, your brain will slowly normalize it and start dipping in without even labeling it as dipping. And to be clear, $5,000 is not a full emergency fund for everyone. If your costs are high, if you have kids, if income is unstable, $5,000 might be 1 month of runway or less. That doesn't make it pointless. It makes it level 1. Level 1, you're no longer one problem away from chaos. Then you build level 2, longer runway, without burning out. From $5,000, here's how I'd build calmly if I were Jordan. First, decide what this $5,000 is protecting you from. Specifically, car repairs, job instability, medical deductibles, a move, pet emergencies, slow freelance months. When you name the threat, the money becomes purposeful instead of vague and emotional. Second, make it slightly inconvenient to touch. Not locked away, just far enough that you have to pause. That pause is where good decisions live. Third, automate the next step, even if it's small. Real wealth is boring. Progress that happens even when you're tired. Maybe that's $50 a week into savings. Maybe a small retirement contribution. Maybe steady extra payments on high-interest debt so your monthly life gets lighter. On that debt point, building a buffer and paying down cards isn't a moral either-or. It's about reducing fragility. The less fragile your monthly cash flow, the less you rely on motivation. The less you rely on motivation, the less you burn out. And about income streams and passive income, $5,000 is not a signal to start day trading your way to freedom. It's a signal to protect your base so you can take smart, sustainable risks. Maybe the best next investment isn't a stock. Maybe it's a skill that raises your income without raising your hours. Maybe it's a small side project you actually enjoy and can sustain. The highest return strategy is the one you can keep doing while still being a person. Sleep matters. Relationships matter. Health matters. The goal isn't rich and burnt out. It's stable and steadily wealthier. That's what $5,000 unlocks, the ability to build without desperation.
So why does everything change after $5,000? Because for the first time, you're not just surviving the month, you're starting to control it. Once you control your month, you can control your year. Once you control your year, you can finally play the long game. If you're close to $5,000, don't dismiss it as not enough. It's enough to change how your brain makes decisions. If you already have it, protect it as what it is, your first layer of freedom. Not freedom to quit tomorrow, freedom to stop panicking on the 18th. One simple action for tonight. Write one sentence about what your $5,000 is for. Give it a job. The moment your savings becomes purposeful, it stops feeling like just a number and starts feeling like a different life.